Welcome to the Kiwimana Day. Hi everyone, this is episode 42 of our beekeeping podcast from New Zealand. This week we are talking about lots of local issues and a few world news issues. How's it going, Gary?
Fantastic, Margaret. How are you?
Yeah, awesome. Lots going on.
It's been a while since I've been behind the mic. Well, not that long.
No, you've been doing some other interviews, so that's all very exciting and learning, about other beekeeper activities, which is always exciting.
Absolutely. So welcome everyone to the Kiwimana Buzz. This week we talk about beekeeping, gardening and life. And I'm Gary.
And I'm Margaret.
Yeah, and we are beekeepers from the hills of the Waitakere Ranges in West Auckland.
New Zealand, no less.
And we talk about gardening, beekeeping and politics sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes politics and bees are intertwined, unfortunately.
Yep, they are, absolutely. And the show notes for this show are kiwimana.co.nz/42.
So check them out and you'll be able to see what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
How's that visual and sound? Okay, so what's been happening at Kiwimana, Gary? Have you got some news to tell us?
Yep, we have. I had a good comment from Pedro from Sweden. He's enjoying our podcast, so that's fantastic. Thanks, Pedro, for getting in touch. And we also had we also created a video called the Kiwi Exilic Acid Vaporizer Instructions with video, and that was starring myself, wasn't it?
Yes, and what a hit you were. I just loved it. It was very natural and right in the middle of the AP while you're busy working hard. And thanks to Pedro to take time to make a comment, a very positive comment. So we're really grateful for that.
Absolutely. So thanks everyone that made comments last month, and we've got some more coming up in the feedback. And what's happening with you, Margaret? What have you been doing? I know you've been busy in the workshop.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of inspections the last few weeks and catching up on, the work that needs to be done. And plus you've been up in the other apiary doing your, using the vaporizer and treating the hives, which seem to be some more than others with issues of varroa. So we've caught them at the right time. And I've been doing our hives here at Kiwimana HQ and finding that most of them have been really good. And so I've only treated one at this stage with Api-Life-Var, and I'll be doing that 4 times every 7 days for up to 28 days just to cover the full cycle. But I saw in that particular hive, I saw deformed wing virus, and I actually saw there was just one frame with a bit of drone comb and the varroa were infesting the cells. I opened one cell and 4 female varroa crawled out, so I know that hive needs work. So
absolutely, and
yeah.
I think it's the time now, New Zealand guys, to think seriously about treating.
Yep.
And I think probably in the next week or so start treatments.
Yeah, I think that you should have been doing your natural mite falls, doing your counts on those, and then you would have set a natural trend for what's going on at the moment so that you know that you need to treat or not.
Or your or powdered sugar as well. You can use that.
Yeah, the sugar shake method's awesome too, and it's really up to you, but I think monitoring is very important and just use any method that you can to set the trend first before you treat so you can see if your treatments are successful. So that's my advice, and I'll be doing some more mite counts just to make sure, because even though I think the hives look good and there's not too many issues, things can change pretty quickly, and we're coming up to autumn on the 1st of March. So
yeah, that's only a couple of weeks away.
A few weeks away.
Oh, it'll be a week away when this is released, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So get ready, guys.
So definitely bear that in mind, because you want to get them done before it gets too cold. Some of the treatments need a bit of heat and the warm weather for them to happen. And yeah, well, the other things we've noticed is one of the articles that we'll be covering tonight is about the honey harvest and honey flow this year. So it's been a really interesting time this year in beekeeping. When we've had some really, challenging issues going on this year, which I haven't recalled it as being such an eventful season. What about you? What do you think about that, Gary?
I think it's been pretty busy and quite stressful sometimes. We actually did an article about that, so we'll be talking about that later as well. Yeah. I think we touched upon that the last podcast, didn't we?
Yeah, but I think that it has been a really challenging season in terms of the different things that have happened compared to last year.
Yeah, it started a lot sooner than usual.
Yeah, and it seems to be going on quite late, so...
Yeah, so we'll have to see what the weather's holds.
And I've also been working at our quarantine apiary where we put I put a hive in the apiary without frames. So I built some rescue frames so that I can help the bees get set up again without them losing all their comb. And it's an interesting thing. I made some frames up, and then Gary had a look on the internet, and there was someone else there who'd built some pretty similar. So I thought, I must be on the right track. So I'm slowly converting those hives over to wooden frames with waxed foundation. And with the ones that have honey, I've just been putting a top feeder on where I put the honey into there so that the bees can still clean it all out and they can use it if they need it. And then the wax that's left we're putting in the wax extractor and we'll reuse that. So
okay. So they are cleaning out the old comb?
Yeah, they're cleaning out the old comb, and I put it into the wax melter, and it appeared to disappear really quick because we've had some really hot weather. But I'm just hoping that this whole week is nice and clear. But I'm just not sure what tomorrow holds, so we'll just have to see.
Absolutely, yeah, because we have to make some more wax, don't we? Because a lot of people are using it for encaustic painting. And I was talking to Michael Young about that from Ireland, and he's going to send us some photos of his painting. So
sounds like really interesting art, but it means that the bees will have to rebuild. I think that's the only thing that I have a problem with, and we'll talk about the honey harvest and the repercussions of that.
Absolutely,
a bit later on.
And other things we've been doing is there's a new bee club being formed in Auckland. It's called the Rodney Beekeepers Club, isn't it? And
it was where it actually gave birth, didn't it, on the 12th of March?
Yep, and they're having another meeting. Oh, no, that was 12th of February.
12th of February.
And they're having another meeting in March, so we'll add it to the show notes. So
it's really great. It's got some real professional commercials in there, so we've got a great wealth of knowledge. We've got a few people that are taking up beekeeping who have got gardening knowledge, which is awesome because definitely I think they are intertwined. The club is open to us selling our products there and, talking about our blog and promoting ourselves, so they're happy with that, for people to do that. So the club seems to be quite open to those kind of things, which I think is awesome. And of course you've got a good hobbyist representation there where people have only got 1 or 2 hives. And we know that in New Zealand the hobbyist beekeeper keeps up to 5 hives, and that has increased this year 12% according to the National Beekeeping Association statistics. So that's a really good sign. So I'm happy about that, and we just need to promote as much education about disease and management of hives as possible. So that's one of the things I really, we as kiwimana definitely focus on. So we're very excited about that too.
Absolutely. So let's have a musical bumper and we'll move on to the blog
Bumper to
recap.
bump, okay.
Bumpity bump. Wait a minute, here we come. It's Very quiet, wasn't it?
I know, it's lovely.
Very subtle.
I feel very calm now.
Okay, well, the next one
Awesome.
won't be so
So
calm.
what's happening?
Top 3 blog posts. So we had a lot of blog posts last month, and we had powdered sugar shake. That's counting varroa mites using icing sugar, and that's working really well, isn't it?
Yeah, we've sold a few of the sugar shake jars, so people are proactively taking up checking their mite levels. So keep up the good work, guys, because that is really important.
Absolutely, and I'm finding that as I do an inspection, I'm just doing a mite count as well. So it's sort of if you're opening up the hive, it's a good way to check the mites while you're inspecting the frame. So it's working really well.
Yeah, and that's a good method that you can do it at the same time.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. I mean, the drop count's a lot more less intrusive. Well, it's not intrusive at all, is it?
Sorry?
Using a drop count on a mesh board is a lot less intrusive, but this is good for us because we have a lot of hives and we can't always go around and put mesh boards on every one of them.
Yeah, because, I mean, I think a natural mite fall's good, and I think you need to set a good period of time for that, because if you're a commercial guy and you're checking your mite levels, do you go back in 48 hours or, it takes a lot of time. But I personally like the natural mite fall through the inspection board, and, some people call it the sticky board because they put, of course we put oil on it to trap the mites so we can get a true reflection of what's going on. So I think that, I think whatever you do, monitor your mite levels in your hive regularly and do it the same every time you do a check.
Absolutely. And the next one we had was bzzz, what to do when you have grumpy bees. And this was your article, Margaret. First time in the top 3 for a long time.
Oh, thanks.
You must be very proud of that.
Yep. I think I am.
Maybe you could explain to the audience what
I think the reason it was so popular is because so many people are experiencing grumpy bees at the moment.
Oh, okay.
But we've only got one hive that really was grumpy with me this year, and I don't know why they were any different than the other hives in the apiary, so it's hard to know. And, we were talking about hives and their different personalities, because even today we were talking on the deck, when we were out there looking at the apiary, and we have one hive which hasn't really been productive in any way, neither honey nor splits-wise or anything. And it's really interesting to think, if it was a commercial, what you said, what would happen?
They'd be out, wouldn't they? Is it the Remuera hive again?
I can't remember.
Yeah, okay.
I think it is. I think it's because they're having too many gin and tonics.
That's what I think it is.
For those of you who don't know, it could be viewed that Remuera is a part of town where there is a higher society, or...
Not society. Maybe they earn more money.
Yeah. A more affluent society, it's been mentioned from time to time. So this particular hive, when we went to find it, it took us 4 days to get it. And because we weren't allowed to chop the bush, the hedge that it was in, what was it called? The hawthorn?
Hawthorn bush.
Yeah. So
I've still got the pain
scars. From it. Yeah, that was quite a challenge. So,
but they're still surviving. They've been around for, was it 2 years now? It's quite a while.
These ones are actually, these are going on three seasons. So they'll be coming into their 4th season.
But they're going okay. They produce enough honey for themselves, and they're happy with that.
Yeah, and we're happy with that. So
we don't mind. And
we've used a few eggs from that particular hive to create some new hives, which are doing really well. So, they do have different personalities. So, at the end of the day, you have to decide how you want to breed that. So, we didn't breed from that this year.
No, not the best bees for for honey production.
Yeah, we just used some eggs to help other people get their hives back on the road, which seem to have seem to be doing really well. So they
Absolutely.
are a nice bee. So I don't.
They're
see
nice
why
bees.
not.
They just spend all their time playing polo and drinking gin and tonics. Anyway, the next one is
moving right along.
Has it all? Has it all just become too much? This was an article that I wrote. About
it was that
trials
article,
and tribulations of keeping a lot of beehives.
That I can swear to you guys, that article came straight from the heart.
It did.
A very broken and worn out heart.
You could almost see the tears dripping off the page, couldn't you?
Absolutely.
So that's an interesting article, and thanks to everyone that replied to me and sent me messages and flowers and chocolates. It was great.
Yeah, and a few tissue boxes along the way, which was awesome.
No, it was good, but it's all going well now, so don't worry about me.
I think that's the reality, isn't it? That with beekeeping, we talked about being prepared and those kind of things, and if you're not prepared, it can be heartbreaking. You know, if you lose a hive or they re-swarm after you've done all that work and you built all the gear, and then they bugger off somewhere. So, you know, it is hard work, and, you know, because we sell beekeeping supplies, we're very busy and we build it all ourselves and we put it together for our customers. It all takes time, and you know, we've been doing the beekeeper services, which is a really popular service that we provide. So, so we're still learning how to manage that. So the reason it has been so exciting is because you guys are all, participating and supporting us in those things. So we really appreciate that. And at the end of the day, you give us a reason to keep going.
Absolutely. It's true. Very true. And so should we move on to the news? Live at 6 o'clock from the Kiwimana studios.
Yeah, well, it's actually just after 8:30, isn't it?
I know, but most news is at 6 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Unless it's a 5 a.m. news.
Yep, but the beauty of podcasts is you can listen to it anytime, anywhere.
That's right, like sunglasses. When you're cool.
The sun shines 24 hours a day.
That's it. So what's next, Gary?
Well...
That was for you, Roz.
Oh, okay. Well, the 11 of the most famous beekeepers in history was an article written by the besthoneysite.com. That's a bit of a cheeky name, isn't it? Best Honey Site.
Well, I had a look at that, and they got some interesting stuff there. They talk about different foods and vitamins and all sorts of stuff. So they did have some interesting, adverts on there and information. So that was quite good.
Yeah, it's a good site.
Yeah, I really like this.
And there's like 11 of the most famous beekeepers. They did miss a couple off, eh?
Oh, absolutely. But the reality is that once you start a list like that, you keep going. There's some people on there that you didn't necessarily expect, hey?
No, Maria von Trapp from the, Sound of Music fame. I don't know if she had bees.
No, I didn't know that either. They said she was quite a tough woman. That first one that they mentioned sounds quite sad, and
Oh yes, that was Sylvia Plath. And Steve Vai, we know about that.
That was great. It had a video with him working on the bees and the hives and doing some honey extractions. And I think that the one that I really loved the most was the Sir Edmund Hillary.
Oh, yes. It's good to see that we had a New Zealander in the top 11 beekeepers.
Yeah, and how simplistic and what a down-to-earth man he was, and a real Kiwi bloke who's quite humble in the way he behaves. And it was good to see that there's quite a few American presidents who we're beekeepers, and it's really good to see the Obama family bringing the bees back to the White House, which is awesome.
Yeah, it is good. I don't think they look after themselves, but I think they have a guy that does them now. Like, I think George Washington...
I would expect that.
Because I know that George Washington used to look after them himself. So.
It's quite good having those little videos as well, eh? I think they covered that article quite good.
Absolutely. Even Martha Stewart. That was interesting.
I thought it was quite interesting to see that people who were quite philosophical or who were quite inspirational were ones who kept bees. I just think that's a good representation of the kind of people who do bees. Wouldn't you agree with that, Gary?
I would. Like Aristotle. Yes, I would. I would indeed. Oh, well, that's fantastic. So let's, what's the next item? What's coming up there, Margaret? That's for you, Roz, as well.
The what? Oh, yeah. Anyway, mites that eat mites. Well, this is good. This is interesting. However, I don't know whether, I sort of have mixed feelings about introducing pests to kill other pests because, how do you know if they are going to become worse than the pest you're trying to get rid of? So I'm always a bit dubious or, I don't know, a bit nervous about this kind of thing. But anyway, if you ever check that out, you'll see the sort of results that Karen got by introducing these predatory mites.
Yeah, and that's Karen Bean from the Brookfield Farms Bees. We interviewed her a few podcasts ago, so she's got a great article there about using predatory mites to kill varroa mites, and it didn't go so well, did it? But you can read that yourself. Yeah,
you'll see the results in there, and we haven't heard anything about pseudoscorpion, how that's all going here in New Zealand, so that's another thing we should
we'll have to get hold of
on.
Sam Reed and ask if her study's still going.
Yeah, and see whether they've got any results.
Well, we're hoping to talk to Mark Goodwin soon, so maybe he might know.
Yeah, exactly. That's Dr. Mark Goodwin, eh?
Yeah, that's him. And so the next story is a local story for us Kiwis. Cool weather to hit honey harvest in the South Island. Federated farmers have expressed or have discovered that there's a 40% drop in honey production, reports John Hartnell, the chairman of the bee industry group. So this is shocking for the guys down south, isn't it? It sounds like a lot of the hives, a lot of the beekeepers are going to just be breaking even.
Yeah, I feel really sad for them because, we know it's important for us to keep up the honey levels. But, to be honest, I spoke with a commercial beekeeper up here, and he told me that the honey production this year is 20 to 35% lower than last year. So that's a big, huge drop. And I sort of can't understand it, but maybe that's why the bees have been behaving the way they've been behaving. And they make an interesting point on there that the bees will are nervous to go out foraging because of the weather, and that they really need a bit of fine spell before they, are more confident to go out. So I'm not sure what that's all about in terms of bee behaviour. That's a really interesting comment that he made, and our hives look like they could probably do with another month of really sunny weather for them to build up their honey stores more, because they're not producing a lot of honey.
Absolutely not, and some of the late swarms may even need to be fed sugar, eh?
Yeah, when people ask me about sugar feeds, I've never been a real fan of it because we always promote to use the honey that the bees collect themselves for their health and well-being. But we have to review this year, because if they come into winter and they haven't got enough stores, then you're just creating a problem for next season. So at this stage, we're just holding off a couple of weeks before making any decisions about this. But if we did sugar feed, we would do a sugar feed with thyme. And last time, a few years ago, about 4 years ago, we did sugar feeds for swarms that hadn't built up enough because we got them later on in the season. And we put vitamin C in, and they responded really well, eh?
Yeah, no, they were going good, so we'll have to revisit that after the treatments is finished, eh?
Yeah, definitely. I did take some boxes off the hive that I was treating, but I left one on there because that had a bit of honey for them, and I'll just leave that on there for them to continue to fill. So, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
So that's something our listeners have to remember, that if you're inspecting your hive and they aren't doing too well with their honey stores, you may need to consider feeding as well. Because if you're in the same area as us, you probably have the same scenario going on. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And if you're in the South Island, probably even worse. Because I know that when I was looking at the rain radar, which is kind of like my homepage on my web browser, because we're looking at when the rain's coming in all the time.
Yeah.
Constantly the South Island was covered in rain over the summer. So they have had a lot more rain than we have had.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully it's okay, guys. And if anyone down there to the South Island listens to this, drop us a comment on the page, and we can just tell us how you're getting on with it.
Yeah.
It's kiwimana.co.nz/42.
We did have a few comments coming through, from the articles that I'd written. So just that I'd written. That I wrote. That I've written.
Yep, go on.
Thanks, Mr. Gary, my English teacher, for your support and enthusiasm.
Sorry. I've been watching Duck Dynasty too much.
Indeed. Anyway, it's good. It's really good to get feedback, and your questions often get us thinking about things a little differently. And we had the issues of the grumpy bees was quite interesting, because I was talking about it to an older beekeeper, talking about smoking the hive and everything, and he made that comment that I put in there about not over smoking your hive. And then I got another hint from another beekeeper just the other day, which I tried working in the apiary, and it was rubbing my gloves and the back of my hands and my arms with the hive mat over the propolis and everything like that. And I was just watching the bees, and they flew onto my glove. Yeah. And they just hung around, whereas in the past they would have just, particularly the grumpy ones, would have just stung me straight away.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it was a really good tip, and I was very grateful for that.
And for our American listeners, that's the inner cover, the one underneath the roof.
It's like a roof liner that we put under the steel.
I don't know what's called a hive mat, eh?
No, me neither. I think it should be called the roof liner.
Exactly.
Anyway,
so...
talking about products that we've named, we've got our new bee frame holder the Kiwi bee frame holder.
Oh, yes, we must release that on the website.
Oh, yeah, bright red. It's been powder coated. It's steel. It'll be awesome, and you won't lose it in the apiary like we have lost our other ones. So, and the Kiwi hive tool, both designed by our Kiwi neighbour across the valley.
We have a lot of tools, eh? A lot of red tools. Things
are coming along, and we're very excited because we are really getting some really good people supplying us with stock now, and reliable, and just awesome. So very exciting.
Very exciting indeed.
What's next, Gary?
Well, we've got lessons from bees. And this is the bee ladies talking to children.
This is a local story which is very exciting.
Absolutely. And this lady is actually named Sarah, and we're actually going to be speaking to her tomorrow night. So that'll be coming out soon as a podcast. And it's about teaching children that bees aren't dangerous, and they are quite good. And what it was is they were trying to find somewhere to put beehives, and the school actually offered to let them put beehives on their ground. So
awesome. The
The kids are learning about bees, and they're learning that bees aren't all bad.
I think if you guys are a local, and even if you're not local, find out who that school is, send them an email and tell them how awesome they are and thank them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because this is good, because there was a bit of opposition according to the story. So, I think it is about education. And speaking of education,
I've got questions coming up.
I'll be doing my beekeeping course next week, and preparing a lot of information for that, and a very simplistic course to get started. And we've got quite a turnout now.
Yeah, exactly.
And we've sold more beginner kits, which is a fully working hive, and it's very exciting, and I'm excited for the students who are coming along and those who've chosen to get a hive as well. So it's been great, because they'll be learning and keeping the bees at the same time, so they'll be able to apply that learning. So very exciting.
Very exciting. And let's have a musical interlude, and then we'll be back with questions from you.
Okay. I got the blues. I got the blues for the bees.
I woke up this morning. My bees were all gone.
Oh my God, so I had to go and catch me a swarm.
A swarm.
Okay, moving along again. I love these questions. These are awesome questions. Do you want to go through all of them? Because they are all really good.
Yeah, okay, we can. Well, the first one is, how long can I leave a swarm in a nuke box?
What are your thoughts on that, Gary?
I would say not long. Because bees in a box can get quite hot if there's no entrance. And a nuke box is generally quite small. Depending on how big the swarm is, I would say I wouldn't leave it very long at all.
So if you were going to measure it in some way, would you say that you want three frames full of bees?
To do what?
To put them into a full box.
Oh, I'd say, 3 or 4. Because swarms really, really rapidly grow, so I wouldn't even consider putting them a swarm in a nuke box, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I mean, I suppose if you're growing a colony from not a swarm, maybe a small swarm, or you're raising a queen or something along that line, you really would need to monitor how they are progressing. So I personally would suggest that they should be getting up to 3 to 4 frames worth of bees going on, depending on what their original size was and where you got, how you started that nuke,
Yeah, because I mean, we've had swarms that have been 3 or 4 boxes, haven't we?
Yeah.
So.
And I think I have another question to go along with that is, having a really good nuke box that you can close off the entrance and you can have a bit of fresh air, that kind of thing. Because I've noticed that a lot of nuke boxes are quite stuffy. So if there's any, bugs and stuff in there, they can multiply quite quick.
Yep, absolutely. I saw a cool thing on Trade Me the other day. It was like a toolbox for beekeepers, and it doubled as a nuke box.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
cool.
That's Trade Me is like Easy Buy. Is it Easy Buy in England? UK? eBay. So Trade Me is the same as eBay over in the UK. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, that was good. And the next one is, how do I do a powdered sugar shake? Well, we have an article for this, don't we?
Yep, and Gary's been talking about this. We also sell the jars so that you can go ahead and do that yourself.
So we'll put a link in the show notes for that. And
it's a very simple process.
And the next one's relevant to New Zealanders. What do bees do in an earthquake?
I found this really interesting. And
what do you think they do?
I think they're like everyone who's in the middle of an earthquake. they probably feel it.
Yeah, I would say.
I think their house shakes like everybody else's.
Yeah.
And I think they probably have some fear that goes through the colony. So, but they can't shelter under a door.
No, they can't. But I have heard.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Apparently that's actually not practiced anymore because doors aren't that strong anymore. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I think the thing is that like a lot of insects and animals in nature's world, a lot of them seem to know before it happens. Like when a storm's coming, our bees seem to be less happy for us to be in the hive, with there's like thunderstorm coming. So
absolutely.
What do you know about this?
Well, I think if they were out flying, they probably wouldn't even notice it. One thing I do know that people near Christchurch have been doing is they've actually been tying their hives around, like when we move hives at night, they're actually using those like trailer things to actually secure the hives together. So even if they do fall over, it's easy to push them back up because it doesn't fall apart. So that's a tip for anyone that's near Christchurch or any near earthquake area.
The bees would not leave. That's probably the first thing to know, is that they would not automatically go because there is an earthquake. They will try and stay in the hive.
Yep, absolutely. And the next question, how late in the season can you raise queens?
This is an interesting one, and a lot of controversy is attached to raising queens from where I'm sitting, but that's because I have a different focus than, say, a commercial.
Controversy? Please explain.
I think you raise queens. I think my understanding is that a lot of commercials raise queens because they're going to kill the old queen and put the new queen into the hive. So that to me means that you're killing off queens, and I have a real problem with that. That's my personal view on that one, and I think it's really sad. I think they should not do that, but I understand why they do it, and I don't think any time of the year you can put a queen in there.
No, I think that's
as long as the hive is working well.
Yeah, exactly.
What were you going to say? Sorry?
Oh, I was going to say that hobbyist beekeeping and commercial beekeeping are different pastimes, really.
Yeah, I think they have a different focus, eh?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I personally, at this time of the year, I would say don't raise queens now. A lot of the hives have got hardly any drones, and if you got to make sure there's lots of drones around, and B, you've got to make sure you've got some good weather coming up. So, there are risks, yeah, absolutely.
So would it be better at the start of the summer?
Yeah.
Or spring?
Absolutely, and I think it also depends. What are you going to do with those queens? Are you going to hope to get colonies going, and then because then you'll have to feed them probably all winter, or are you going to just replace your queens with a new queen? It all depends.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of elements that come into play when you're looking at putting a queen in a hive, a new queen in a hive.
Yeah.
So I think even in terms of being a hobbyist or a commercial, I think most commercials would be getting them raised in spring. Hey.
No, a lot of commercials replace their queens in autumn.
That's interesting, because I sort of see more sense doing it at the end of winter when the hives might need to have new morale, because they would feed at the same time too, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they would. Yeah, they would.
Anyone out there who wants to give us some more help on this and some of the information surrounding this, it would be awesome.
Absolutely.
So
if you're
email,
raising queens,
yeah, that's it.
Leave a comment.
Email us at info@kiwimana.co.nz if you want to give some comments as well, or on the website.
On the show notes. And next question, what are your bees foraging on at the moment?
Something that's got white pollen. That seems to be the most common one over the last over the last 6 weeks has been white pollen.
Yeah, isn't that pennyroyal? I think it is. And I've noticed a lot of bees on the clover and a lot of bees on the wildflowers at the moment. There doesn't seem to be a lot on the bush flowering that I can see.
There's a few natives that have finished flowering now, and yeah, they've all got berries on them now, but oh gosh, there's some wild ginger around that that is flowering at the moment, and they're just dying off, so they don't last too long. And I'm not sure what colour the pollen is of those ones.
Have you ever seen a bee in the wild ginger? I haven't.
Oh, I haven't really sat down to look, to be honest.
Oh, okay. And the next one is how to build a beehive box.
Oh, you did an article about this one, didn't you?
We did. So there's an article about that, so you can read how we make boxes. And the next one is kind of a bit of a vague question: how to keep bees in New Zealand.
That is a huge question, eh? Because in New Zealand, because we've got all the islands, and we're located in we're surrounded by sea. We're not part of a big continent. We have lots of different climatic conditions throughout New Zealand, and from one end of the New Zealand, you know, you've got snow, and then you go to the other end of New Zealand and you've just got sunshine and hot temperatures and...
Absolutely.
Yeah, so there's so many climatic conditions. The advice would be in New Zealand is be aware of your local area, talk to local beekeepers.
Yep, and get local bees.
Get local bees. Also, the other thing is that they may have advice on how you can keep your bees more healthy for your area. And sometimes when you have your own property, you can create your own microclimates that you have to be aware of. So, you know, you definitely don't want a windy site. You definitely don't want one that's going to be wet, that kind of thing. So the same philosophy is to keep your bees warm and dry, not hot and stuffy, that kind of thing.
Yep, absolutely. And the other thing I'd say is look at joining a local bee club, because that'll give you some lots of tips.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And the next question, where do you buy food grade mineral oil?
What's that for?
It's used in a lot of like making, using for treatments for varroa mites to make like they put it in the sugar syrup and things like that.
Oh, okay. Would that be like concentrates of formic acid or things like that?
No.
Just something. Is that for fogging or something?
No, like patties you use for doing, like lard patties.
Yeah.
They put a couple of drops of that in there and use it for that. But we actually discovered a company called lotussoils.co.nz, and they sell a whole lot of natural oils. We've never dealt with them, so you'd have to buyer beware there. But you give their site a go. It's LOTU soils.co.nz, but I'll have that in the show notes so you can have a look and see what they're like. And if anyone out there's used them, leave a comment for the rest of the people. And the next one is, what is a queen?
Well, a queen, I have to go and have a look in the dictionary, but isn't she the monarch of, there's a queen in Holland. There's a queen.
I think this is about beekeeping.
Oh, sorry. I went off in a tangent. Oh, so sorry about that. Yeah.
We're not a royal podcast. We're a beekeeping.
We talk about monarchs, but monarch butterflies.
Exactly. Well, a queen to me.
Sorry, guys.
Yes. That's a tangent, is it?
Tangent. I'll have a tangent in a minute.
Yeah. A queen is the only bee in the hive that is fertile, and she's the only one that can lay eggs of workers. That's my definition.
The interesting thing is that she can also lay drones when she feels it's right to lay drones.
Well, when she comes across a drone cell, she measures the size of the cell. And contrary to popular belief, she is not in charge.
That's right. The workers decide.
The workers decide.
That's right. They are the ones who communicate throughout the whole hive what is needed.
Yep. And I think up to the 1800s, they actually used to call her the king bee because they thought she was the king. She's a funny king that lays eggs. But anyway.
Yeah, it's interesting, eh? It's probably from a male-dominated perspective. But anyway, that's a whole other tangent.
Anyway, let's have a musical interlude and we'll have blog posts coming soon. And we're back.
That was really quick.
It was. Blog posts coming soon. We've got one called Wasps in Your Beehive, and this is the time of the year when wasps attack bees, and they rob them, and they steal the bees, and also what else do they do?
With wasps at the moment, I have noticed that they have been hanging around. Most of them are hovering above the lawn. They're not getting as near the hives as they have in the past. I think the bees are actually really good at guarding them now, but it's protein time, isn't it?
Yeah, I did notice some the other day were actually stealing some of the dead brood that was the bees were throwing out, and they were taking it away. The wasps. Yeah,
I think that this is the time that the wasps are really trying to build up protein, and they've gone past the honey feed. But in saying that, when I was working on the hive today, they were trying to get in there. So
yeah, absolutely.
This time of the year, you really need to be, you may need to be looking at what levels there are and using a robbing screen to reduce the entrance.
Well, we've actually started making robbing screens, haven't we? We've actually sold a couple, so.
And they're they're really good, and they're multiple use. Absolutely.
No, they're working really well, so check those out.
Tell our listeners what inspired you to do this.
What inspired me? I guess a lot of people are complaining that they are getting robbed by wasps, especially people down the South Island. So we've been trying to look for a solution for a long time, and we've tried several different ideas, haven't we? And we just think this one's the best one because it's multiple use. You can use it as a robbing screen, or you can use it to move your bees at night, so you can actually just shut them up at night. Or if your neighbours are terrible and they use pesticides, you can actually shut the bees up for a day or so.
And the beauty of that is that they still have plenty of air coming in and out, so that's all good.
Absolutely.
And I think that the other thing that with this robbing screen, it's been a mix of many that we've been using over the years, that we've been trying to get just the right kind of screen to work. So
yeah. So that's a new product we're starting to look at, see if anybody needs them.
So we're still going to be getting some more feedback on how that's going, and but other people have said, yeah, it's been really good. So
absolutely.
Don't miss out, guys.
No, for sure. And the next one is a guest post by Jeanette, and that's about 4 tips to choose the best beekeeping software. And she's actually she's the person that wrote Hive Tracks, which is a beekeeping software that you can install on your PC. And for recording your hive inspections and stuff like that. So it's a great idea, isn't it, having some kind of records? But you've got to have something that everybody uses.
Yeah, I think it's with beekeeping, there's so many different ways you can do your hive management, and there's manual ways, there's computer aware, there's just, some people do huge analysis of their hives, so it's very exciting to see something coming through that's offering this alternative.
Absolutely, and she's actually from Australia too, so it's not far from here at all. And the next one, we have a kiwimana chat. We haven't got Michael Young from Ireland, from Northern Ireland, and that was a really interesting talk. And he's the actual, he's quite a famous beekeeper in Ireland, so that'll be coming out soon. And next up, we have feedback from you guys. That one's long, isn't it?
I like that one. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Anyway, we mentioned before about Pedro from Sweden, so thanks Pedro for talking to giving us some feedback. We also had feedback from Lighthouse Bees, and they said the show is a great resource and a pleasure to listen to.
Awesome.
That's great, isn't it?
Yeah, I just, we do get a lot of comments, and we meet a lot of people who have listened to us, and it just feels really good because we know that we're meeting a need here, and we really appreciate any feedback we get. We're trying to set up, and we're working on those how-to instruction type blogs that, similar to the one you did on the little video with using the kiwi oxalic acid vaporizer.
Yeah, we want to do some more videos, don't we? They're a bit more work, but I think that a lot of people like to see stuff happening, so I think that's a good idea.
And I think, one of the questions is that, something really simple, and I think that makes life a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we didn't have any iTunes reviews, but thanks to everyone that has left iTunes reviews to us, and if you'd like to leave an iTunes review, it's kiwimana.co.nz/iTunes. We really appreciate that. Oh, the Amazon link.
Okay, come on.
We've actually made like $10, so we're actually trying to save up, guys, for a new microphone for Margaret. So that's going to be, if we can get some people on that, that'd be awesome. If you need to buy anything from Amazon, go to kiwimana.co.nz/Amazon.
Well, and if you want to support us and you're over in America, you could always order our Kiwi design tools to, for us to send back over. We had our first international order, which happened to go to Australia, which is very exciting for us.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had inquiries from the Philippines as well.
Yeah, it's just been really exciting, and the South Island seems to be really beginning to know us really well, so we really appreciate that. It is exciting, and we love it.
Absolutely. And there's also more feedback. We got quite a touching sort of little bit on the BK Corner podcast, didn't we? That Kevin talked about us. So that was really nice, Kevin, if you're listening. Thanks a lot. And if anyone out there wants to find a really good podcast, it's the bkcorner.org, and we'll put that in the show notes. We really appreciate your feedback, Kevin, and it's awesome. And we must get together and have a chat soon.
Indeed.
And Kevin does great things over there. He's very, very detailed in his research, and he does a lot of work there. So, yeah, check it out. And he's got some great videos too, hasn't he? From the
there's some really good stuff there, and Phil Chandler as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've been watching some instruction that he's been doing, and there's just some really exciting things going on all over the world to do with beekeeping. And if you've got anything interesting you want to share with us, just send it through.
Yep, absolutely. So, have you got anything else to bring up, Margaret?
No, I just before we go, just make sure you're monitoring your mite levels. Just make sure your bees are, actually visually look at your bees and see whether they have got good form and their wings are in place and they're healthy looking, and just things like that. And then open a few cells which may not look too good. Checking for disease, because we actually have a friend who has just lost hives to American foul brood, which Gary, did a second opinion inspection on, and unfortunately was proven to be AFB, American foul brood. So that's very disheartening. It's better to monitor your hives well and inspect when you think things are not right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got to keep on top of that.
Yep, that's absolutely right. Well, I just like to say thanks for listening. I know there's plenty of things you can do with your time, and I really appreciate you guys listening. So
yeah, thanks for taking the time.
Yep, thanks guys, and we'll talk to you next month.
Have a great month, and we'll talk to you then. See ya.